Nope. There we go. All right, welcome, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, to the Honcast Podcast. That is right, the Honcast Podcast is back, and I'm already screwing things up, as always. With that said, I'm excited to be here. Of course, the Honcast Podcast coming back because we got plenty of competitive Heroes of New Earth to talk about once again, especially with Hon Tour Season 3 in full swing and many, many other things, of course. So, in case you are new to the podcast, simply put, we're just here to discuss some good old Heroes of New Earth, have fun. We have a lot of fun, interactive. There's no delay on the stream, so we can interact with chat and everything, and just really about having a good time, and also giving you guys some information if you do want to get caught up in terms of what has been going on over the last, well, it's been a long time, of course. So, with that said, of course, Breaking CBK here, going to be one of your forecasters today. Going to be joined by also Beef. Beef, he's been on plenty of these. How's it going, man?
People don't know who I am, Breaky.
You're new.
If people don't know who I am at this point, there's an issue. I'm good. I'm sick. I wish I had a McGriddle. Go Rams. Redbirds suck. That's about it.
And that's all you wanted to say, and now you're done with the podcast. Just got that out there.
Drop the mic.
All right, drop. Fantasy going to be joining us. He's been on a couple of these. How's it going, man?
That's going well. If not, yeah, I've been on a couple. I don't know why, but I've been on a couple.
I don't know why.
And I'm back.
I like the flags in the background. You're representing multiple places. Why Brazil?
That's Jamaica. But nice try, America.
It looks green, yellow. Okay, I guess there is. Yeah, okay. Why Jamaica then?
It's a flag of my youth. I am not going to go into it much deeper.
All right. That sounds good. Now, speaking of veterans here, we got somebody that's a newbie on the podcast. Will be nice. Mini Maggot going to be joining us on the podcast. How's it going?
Yeah, I'm going good, man. Just got back from holiday like a couple of days ago, so I'm looking forward to get involved in the Hon competitive scene, and I think this is my first podcast as well, so I'm looking forward to it.
Should be a lot of fun. Again, that's what these are all about. Like I said, we just discussed competitive Heroes of New Earth, what's been going on, and yeah, it has been a little bit since we have done a podcast. Now, to say the least, we're not going to go back 6 months by any means and talk about what's been going on as a result of that. We'll keep it to basically on tour season 3 now. Of course, is here, and we're now even one cycle into it. So, with that said, we're going to be going over that. We're going to be previewing cycle 2, of course. Get our thoughts on that. We got power rankings, the Honcast, or not necessarily the Honcast rankings, but Quincy taking the lead on that project, bringing back the power rankings for Heroes of New Earth competitive scene. Definitely having fun with that. And then Fantasy especially going to be here to also give us some insight in terms of the Southeast Asian and CIS scenes, who definitely have their own competitive scenes and are most certainly doing a lot, and even a lot more than I expected, and again, we'll get into that a little bit later on in the podcast. But I figured it makes sense to kind of start things off here on the podcast with good old Bad Monkey Gaming. In case you weren't aware, if you haven't heard yet somehow, if you follow the scene, BMG, the former BMG team that we knew of Handskin, Jonas and Fan, Seal Kid, Super KGE, and Xibe, those are the 5 that were recently. They announced, Hanscom more specifically announced that the team was actually going to be no longer, as several other players were going to be moving on to other projects, whatever that may be, and so that left us in a state of, whoa, that kind of came out of nowhere to an extent, but at the same time, here we are with BMG announcing that no longer a team, so it was a little scary, to be frank. It definitely was, or unfortunate to hear even, in the end. But then we found out a little bit later that that's not necessarily the full case. Hanskin, Jonas Fan, and Seal Good are leaving, but you got still Xibe and Super KG. Of course, they're going to stick around, and actually they got 3 new players in what is Support, Tankafed, and Hackster. And so that's kind of the whole story. That's a new BMG team. But first things first, we'll kind of go around the panel right here. We'll start off with you, Beef. What did you think about the whole announcement and what's happened as a result of it?
It sucks. I was shocked. I had sat down, maybe 2 weeks beforehand with Papa Bjorn and Hanskin, talked to them about a ton of different things in an interview that we did over at HonTour.com.
Yeah.
And I got to say, I mean, it just caught me by surprise, a lot of it. I mean, I consider myself at least a little bit close with the guys over at BMG, and I had absolutely no clue until the announcement was made. So it really caught me by surprise. I can understand perhaps why they might have wanted to do it. These guys have been playing Han for a very long time, and maybe it's just time for them to move on. But at the same time, it sucks. But, I'll still be following them. If they're going to be playing any other games and whatnot, promising guys, and hopefully they can, bring some more exposure to Han by doing well elsewhere, and people look back at their history and say, damn, Han breeds some pretty damn good players.
It seems like it's been doing that over time. It is going to be interesting, obviously, to see how that all plays out. Mini Maga, what was your take on that whole, when you first heard about it and where it's at now?
Yeah, I mean, I think I was definitely on similar lines to Beef, but I was definitely surprised. I mean, I thought they were doing quite well, scrimming a little bit more as well. They did lose to Zinc in the grand finals, but even that was a close game. I'm just kind of surprised that they left so abruptly. But obviously, we do have the three players replacing Hanskin, Silkid, and Jonas Fan with Haxer and support and Tankerfett. So I'm glad, obviously, we're getting some kind of legendary players per se to come back onto the scene, and it's going to be good to sort of see if they can really perform to where they used to perform at a really high level. So it'd be interesting to see.
Fantasy, you have any input on that, the whole situation there?
I don't really have anything to add to what those other two guys were saying. But does anyone know what Haxman Support and Takafit were doing in the meantime? Did they just take a break, or were they actively playing another game or this game or something?
I'm not sure. I want to say I think at least Support maybe was still scrimming, but I'm not sure about Tankafit and Haxer, and if they would just simply have been doing other things and they heard about this whole situation and with where the scene's at. So do you guys have anything?
I know Support has been playing.
Okay.
Because he crushed me in a TMM a few weeks ago.
Yeah, he can't play Dota because it doesn't have empath, so he sticks here.
That's true.
Makes sense.
Yeah,
good point.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I'm... Yeah. No, I'm just a little bit hesitant about the new roster, how much time it will take to gel together and for them to get back into shape. So that's the only concern I have.
Yeah. Yeah, that's obviously the biggest thing when we hear about big name players, especially those that haven't been around for a little bit. So as you're pointing out there, Haxer and Tankafet, not 100% sure. I mean, maybe for all we know, maybe just even on sub accounts or whatever, they have been kind of just still hanging about and playing around. But those are names that we haven't seen for a little bit in the competitive Han scene, and all of a sudden kind of coming back. So no doubt. So let's focus on that perspective now. What do you guys think is going to happen here? I mean, again, the new roster, of course, Zibe and Super KGE, very good players themselves. They're still there from what is the original, or more so the more recent BMG team, but going to be joined with Support, Haxer, and Tankafet once again. Do you guys think that they are going to be able to mesh right away and compete in what currently is this competitive Han scene right now, Beef?
I mean, as you'll kind of see in my power rankings a little bit later, I think that the natural talent and experience of this team is certainly going to help them out, but it's going to take some time. Take some time for them to get back into the meta, get back onto the coordination page, and we all know communication's number one when it comes to this game. You can have, 5 players that are 2100 rated independent TMM pub stars. You throw them on the same team, you might not have the best team in the world.
Yeah. It
takes a lot to build that coordination and the communication. I think I ranked them at 4 in my power rankings. We'll see if I'm correct on that a little bit later on. But I think that they're going to do well. I don't see them beating Sync anytime soon.
Yeah, it reminds me a lot of Too Much Sugar, the TMSR situation when that team first came about. In fact, Haxer and Tankafet were both of that team, and
and Zibi, wasn't it? No, never mind.
I don't think Zibi was, but Moo Meander and a couple other.
Moo Meander, Keizu, and someone else.
That's right, it was Keizu, wasn't it? Yeah, so definitely some big name players that kind of came together. Now they ultimately had some decent success, but they never were really the top team by any means. So yeah, it is going to be interesting to see. But there is also the side. Well, first off, I mean, Mini Maggot, I'll let you got any input on that as far as what you think is going to happen with this team?
Yeah, I mean, I think they, like Beef said, they're great individual players. I think the one thing to me that's really standing out is who's going to be their out-and-out leader. Obviously, with Hanskin leaving from BMG, obviously he was the number one leader, obviously probably in all of HOM. And I'm wondering to see who's going to step up and take that role. I mean, I think one of one of the biggest things in when you're sort of forming a new team is who's going to play leader. Because if you have, like a team leadership, it doesn't really work as well as having that one standout leader. For example, take Stay Green. You have Swindle Melons on the front of all the calls and all the decisions they make, and that's the reason why they're so strong. I assume Tankafet would be taking up the role, because I think Tankafet was actually the leader for Too Much Sugar, although there was a little bit of change of leadership as well.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't know.
But yeah, I think it's just going to really depend on are they strong as their leader? Because if the leadership is weak, I don't expect them to do incredibly well. I mean, compared to my power rankings, I think I've rated him quite low. But we'll have to see when or next week, I guess.
That's a good point. The leadership is going to be the big question mark, and of course, going to this week, we'll see who's at least in that captain's role. But I mean, honestly, at least 3 of those players, you mentioned Tankafet, Super KG has a little bit of experience when he played for Team Excellent for a little bit. He was in that drafting role we saw. And then Haxerin has some history of being the drafter, being the captain of the team. So it is going to be interesting if Tankafet, being kind of a new player on the team, if they're going to let him just step right into being a captain's role. But at the same time, maybe he has been out for a little bit, and so he might not be all up on where the quote-unquote meta is for the competitive scene. So yeah, definitely going to be interesting to see what where that holds in terms of their leadership going into the weekend. So, fantasy, ultimately, do you think this team's going to do pretty well right off the bat, or?
I don't think it will be right off the bat. I think they are going to do good, come from the 3rd or 4th cycle. I think it just takes a while to get your communication up to snuff and to get everything figured out. Like you said, who's the leader, who's the drafter, and there's a difference between drafter and in-game leader sometimes, and I think that they can work around that as well. I think Tanka is a very, very strong in-game leader. When I stood next to them at the DreamHack, you could really hear him doing all the commands. I don't know if he was drafting per se, but he was really the vocal in-game leader, and I don't know. It can work, but not right off the bat.
Okay, so we all kind of agree that maybe it's not going to work right off the bat. Do we see them sticking together if a month and a half from now, all of a sudden they're losing to, Dawn or Rexars, Moe's Tavern, these teams that we all kind of universally see outside of the top 4 right now, but that are still good teams. If they're not able to overcome that second tier, do we see them sticking together, or do egos kind of take over?
Well, that's kind of that also takes us to a whole almost another discussion of where the competitive scene is at right now as far as the teams that we do have. I mean, I think that it's undisputed Sync Esports is the top team. There's no way you're going to question that, even in the new BMG roster and everything especially. They are the new top dogs. They are going to be the team to beat. We've had that throughout history, the Fnatic situation, the Stay Green situation. Now in this case, Sync Esports is going to be that top team to beat. But, there's several posts that were starting to be brought up, and understandably so. People with BMG leaving, this is truly the death of competitive fun. You have teams like Willowkeeper and Reason Gaming that are now considered top teams. As I put it in those posts, and as I'm going to say here once again, what is so wrong in believing that these new players, now it's their time to shine? Why can't they step up like these other players have had their opportunities to do so? People forget that it seems like they have the short-term memory that these players like names like Z-Freak, for example, Zai, for example, hell, the more recent ones, even Mickey, they came from nowhere. We didn't know these guys for the longest time. Then all of a sudden, we started to pick up their names. And, players like Boxy is coming to mind nowadays. Certez. These are going to be players that I think are going to hang around and be the new stars of the competitive pawn scene and are entertaining to watch and obviously great players. So, in my opinion, people that think that this new BMG team, because of their star players and the big names, are just going to come in and start dominating right away, and it sounds like we all agree on that they aren't necessarily, and I think that's good reason because of, like I just said right there, that what we have right now as far as players go, we definitely have some pretty legit players, and they deserve to be where they're at. So, yeah, we are going to get a lot of information this weekend in terms of maybe where the competitive scene really is at in the end. But as you put it, though, Beef, the mesh of the players, the egos and everything, I don't know. That's just something we're going to have to wait and see. I don't know if their players necessarily have, the biggest ego. Like, Haxerin, he's just a fun player. I mean, he's just, a good guy, genuinely, and no, Beef says not really, but...
Wow.
Big. Okay. Maybe different experience on your end, but to me, this isn't like a Moo Meander or like a Swindle Melons or in terms of we got to question it at least if that's going to be a case. I don't see that here with this team, so I don't know if that's going to be a case, but I don't know. Anyways, Mini Maggot, you want to pick up on that?
Yeah, I mean, just going back to where we are in the competitive scene. I mean, although we did lose our sort of top two teams in competitive Hon, and obviously that's going to be a little bit of an annoyance in the sense that the grand finals might not be as big. But honestly, I think now with the top. Probably the top two seed dropping. Now it's the race to the number 2 seed. You've got teams like Reason, you've got teams like Tree, and now you've got the newly formed BMG. There's so much more competition for that number 2 spot instead of it's going to be Zinc and BMG in the grand finals. Now I have no idea who's going to be in the grand finals. It could be Zinc versus Tree, Zinc versus Reason, Zinc versus BMG, and I think that's really quite interesting in the sense that when it comes to the winners bracket semi-finals, it's going to be a lot more interesting compared to the previous cycles because. Now the number 2 seed is up in the air.
It actually reminds me of the beginning of Season 2. The first couple cycles, we didn't have that standout team to actually compete against Stay Green.
Just Stay Green, yeah.
Team Excellent.
And so it ended up being Team Excellent
Point still
and
stands.
Team USA.
Yeah.
Those were our finalists in the first 2 cycles. Then after that, BMG comes in, but at the time we also still had teams like Reason Gaming that could have made it into that spot, TMSR. There's lots of different teams and I have absolutely no clue who's going to be in that finals, likely against Sync. So that makes it really exciting for me because I like those new upcoming players. You can go back to October 2012 where I say these guys from Lions that none of you guys have ever heard of before are going to be huge. These guys are fantastic.
Yeah.
And I had no clue who those people were. And that was exciting to me to say these guys definitely have potential. I'm looking forward to seeing them grow. Took them a while. Eventually, they became the best team in Han. Looking forward to seeing that once more.
Exactly. Fantasy, anything else to add on that?
I don't know if you can compare the two situations, quite frankly. We knew about Lions Esports going into Season 2. They basically won the off-season. They won every tournament there. They just didn't get their shit together for the first 2 cycles, so we knew about their potential and we knew what they were capable of doing.
Yeah.
Right now, I don't really know what's going on. I mean, we have Reason who were active during the Stay Green era. We had Tree that came up during the Stay Green era, so I don't think that everyone that is calling Han that is basically and has a point there. I just think that with BMG gone, we lose a lot of storylines. We lose a lot of rivalries that need to be built up, and that's, I think, the drag for the next couple of cycles, that we need to get more rivalries back up and need to get these star players in a position to compete with each other again, and that's what makes it interesting. It's not the quality of games that's really going to lack. It's just the excitement that these games can build beyond that.
It's just a different perspective. No, I definitely see where you're coming from. It's not that, we got the rivalries. It's more of a what is going to happen, the unknown.
Yeah, I gotta agree exactly what Fantasy just said right there. It's actually really interesting because the quality of play is going to be very high. These teams know what they're doing, but it's the storylines. It's the ability to connect with these players that actually makes it really exciting to watch pretty much any esport game. You can actually look at some of the other esports where other regions are dominant, especially you look at Dota 2, China, you look at Korea for League of Legends or StarCraft 2. And even though those regions dominate the game, oftentimes you see people that don't really enjoy watching their matches if they're not super familiar with them, because it's hard to connect with a lot of those players over there. We forged the connections with the people that we're watching constantly, the people like all these guys from BMG Lions, like the guys from Stay Green that we watched the last year. So even though the matches are going to be super high quality, we got to build those storylines. So it's just going to take a little bit of time, but I'm excited to start watching and start rooting for some of my new favorites.
Exactly. Exactly. It's very, very good points. I mean, this is now their time. That's why we keep going back to that point. This is their time to shine, and obviously we're going to do our part with the exposure, with the events, and with this format, too. I mean, we covered, I think it was, basically every single match that was played in Cycle 1 other than 2 matches in the earlier losers bracket. But every single match other than that was covered here on Honcast. You guys had the opportunity to see all these teams really play and get an idea of what they're about and their progress throughout the cycle. So, yeah, sure, it may take a couple of cycles here to once again bring those stories back up, the storylines and everything, but no doubt it's very, very possible and very likely will happen. It's just a matter of what are those going to be. So that's what we're here to experience, and obviously this coming weekend we'll start to find out as far as Cycle 2 beginning. So thumbs up to that. I think we're good on that. Mini-Mac, anything else to add before moving on here?
Nah, I think we covered everything.
All right.
In this section.
Yeah, actually, speaking of that, so that's the whole BMG situation and a couple of side topics there. But taking a look at the previous cycle. Speaking of that, we've kind of touched on it a little bit already, of course. But Sync Esports did ultimately win cycle number 1, and it was a crazy grand finals, man. It was not easy, and for a lot of people, and part of me too, to an extent, was. This was probably the better thing ultimately to happen with Sync defeating BMG, especially with the announcement of BMG shortly after, and how maybe their hearts weren't 100% into it in the end. But in the end, Sync Esports, they took it 3-2. BMG was actually up 2-1, remember, after Sync even came in with a 1-0 advantage. So they were on the verge, and they were down 2-1. After it was something like the 80-plus minute game in game number 2, they just lost that one. So I'm sure a lot of people out there thought, oh, well, this is going to suck for Sync, and BMG may even sweep this. But Sync fought back, man, and they proved that they were the better team in the end. Not only defeating them there, but, of course, previous round in the winner bracket finals even. But that's obviously the big part of cycle number 1. There's definitely some standout matches, too. I'll go across the board here. I mean, what surprises you the most? What surprised you the most? Or what stood out to you, Beef?
That Dawn did not break into the top 4. I think in my power rankings, I put them at number 4. They disappointed me.
They came out of the qualifiers number 1. They undefeated.
That's the entire thing. I watched a lot of matches of Dawn in the amateur invitationals, the qualifiers, and I guess they had been playing against lower competition, and I expected more out of them because they look so clean and crisp, and I don't know whether they got to the big stage against some of these really good teams like Willowkeeper, and then they start to crumble a little bit against Sync, but they didn't look as clean. And that's something I guess that's probably going to come with time against playing against these top teams, which they'll have the opportunity to do every other weekend. But I thought they were going to do a little bit better. As it was, I mean, they still finished 5th, 6th. They don't get knocked down to gold or anything. But we'll see. We'll see more out of them. Outside of that, well played by Willowkeeper.
Yeah, they were fun to watch. Obviously, third place.
Really good.
2-0 over Reason. That was a good performance by them.
I like Boxy.
Boxy is quickly becoming a household player name as far as the competitive Hon scene goes, yeah.
I mean, the first time I watched Boxy was almost a year ago now. Actually saw him using Sir Bensington as a suicide. That was the first time anybody had used Sir Bensington or Bensington suicide, and I was like, this guy's really good. This guy's really, really good. And now he's proven that he's still really good. So I'm just saying, I got the scouting eye, guys. I got the scouting eye. I'm giving him the blessing.
I saw him with the Gunblade performance. Still, that Gunblade performance that stood out where we just randomly saw this guy boxing. He's like, he's going to pick Gunblade. Okay, whatever. This is going to suck. And no, he dominated with the hero. And defeated the Moon Queen team, I think it was. So, yeah, that was first hit. But, yeah, no, I agree with you there. Definitely Willowkeeper's performance. Pretty fun there. Mini Maggot, what about you in Cycle 1? Anything stand out to you?
I think it has to be probably the grand finals, but not because of the game itself, but what really happened in the drafts. I mean, it looked like they were actually going back to the old meta of kind of pushing and sort of team fight oriented. There's a lot of Tempest, a lot of Ophelia. That honestly kind of surprised me.
Yeah.
But I guess in the sense that when the going gets tough in this sort of high pressure situations, then people go back to what they used to. They've played, the old sort of meta where they push down the tier 1 at 6 minutes with Ophelia or Tempest, and they don't want to try something new or something that might work. They want to go back on what they used to, and with this sort of team fight, it was just kind of interesting to see them go back to that kind of old style, like in Cycle 2 and Carnage of Caldebar kind of style. Yeah,
the top teams definitely busting out there, going back in time a little bit, it felt like. So, hey, but we also got to see some different, including, I think BMG was one of the teams, Amun-Ra they picked. I mean, we saw plenty of just random different heroes come about, that's for sure. Fantasy, anything for you, Cycle 1, that stood out to you?
Not really. It's just the how decisive the lower bracket matches were, like Reason Gaming, Willowkeeper, Bad Monkey Gaming. I expected a little bit more of a back and forth in those matches, not to just be clean 2-0 sweeps.
Yeah.
That's about it.
Yeah.
Especially after Willowkeeper played Bad Monkey Gaming 2-1 in the upper bracket.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's definitely a good point there. Let's see all the 2-0s there in the losers, unfortunately. So, but again, cycle 1 of ultimately 8 cycles to come. But yeah, I mean, as far as me, I like kind of going back to the diversity of heroes. And I don't have the stat right in front of me, but it was something like 60+ heroes were played throughout like 20 matches or something like that in cycle 1. I mean, that's honestly a very, very good number, and I was very pleased to see that. And just for seeing different strategies and different heroes kind of come about, and some old school heroes like a mage band, we saw that pop up and whatnot. So it's fun to watch competitive Pawn right now.
It is. I excuse me, I'm kind of ill. I saw a post on Reddit this morning that it was like Han and the competitive scene. And it was like, we see the same heroes over and over again. God, and I'm like, what?
What do you want? Do you want people to just random their heroes every game? I mean, I guess that'll be the best case to get diversity.
Yeah. And I'm like, what? What is going on here? So, I don't know. There's a lot of heroes that get picked, man. I don't really know what more you want. His suggestions were buff the push strat and nerf Kongor to make level 1 Kongor more viable. So... hire this guy for the balance team. Bring back the push strat.
Put him on.
Let's go.
Put him on. I'll bring it up to Waza. Don't worry. 66 heroes in Cycle 1 is what Quincy says. So yeah. And again, that seems like 20 games or something like that. So, hey, I was very happy to see that with those heroes.
When's the last time we saw one Kong?
Did we see one this last? We saw one in Carnage of Calabar, I think it was.
I don't think we did see one.
There was. Yeah, I'm trying to. There was a game, I want to say, in Carnage of Calabar that we did see a Kongor level 1, but
I can't remember.
Yeah, I was still impressed. The one team that tried to do the Martyr level 1 Kongor strat, taking advantage of the wings that give the experience and everything, it would have been it completely failed. But that was a while back. Anyways, yeah, bring back nerfed Kongor, get the minus armor back, the minus armor meta. Good old Pestilence, Soul Stealer, Andromeda lineups. All right, so yeah, but that's cycle 1 there. As far as that's concerned, again though, the finals 3-2 sink in the end over BMG. And again, another good thing that stood out to me was just simply the amount of great matches we had. A lot of series did go good. Yeah, losers bracket went 2-0 in the end throughout, but overall, especially in the winners and again the grand finals, very, very good matches from the heroes to just the games themselves. So even more reason to be excited for cycle 2. There was a little bit of disappointment there. Speaking of that, The Last of Us, unfortunately, they did forfeit their first round matchup against Rexarch. After losing 2-1 against Willowkeeper, they gave them quite the fight. And definitely a team that we expect to have at least some potential here. Falling apart, though, they just didn't get their 5th player in time. And it seems like the team has just been having troubles. And even more to that, which we'll get into coming up here shortly, a couple of their players even leaving the team to now join another team that is now Diamond in Cycle 2, even in Nullstone Gaming. So, but The Last of Us, they got bumped down. And then Shrek is Love, of course, getting bumped down to the Gold Division.
North America Han.
Yeah, right. Just hop to the next team that gets Diamond in. We'll join you guys. We'll do good with you guys, right? Fantasy gonna be banned in chat. Come on now.
I may or may not have spammed dongers.
Oh jeez, that donger spam. Here, one second.
That's fired.
What are you doing here? All right, there we go. You should be unbanned.
That's nice.
Cycle number 2. Speaking of cycles, though, we got cycle number 2, of course, though, going to be coming up here and previewing that. So as I talked about, Nullstone Gaming and Wop Wop. Now they're known by Wop Wop. They're formerly known as Moe's Tavern. We've heard of this team before, but changing the name to Wop Wop, not sure what there's any point to that or any logic behind it. But anyways, them and again Nullstone Gaming qualifying, and then you got the other 6 teams that were there from the previous cycle. These are going to be the matchups here on screen that I got for you guys in terms of what is going to kick things off this weekend here with the round of 8. And the one that I'm eyeing, and I'm sure a lot of people, BMG versus Nullstone Gaming. Because Nullstone Gaming, I mean, they're not a team to scoff at either. I mean, we just talked about how what you got, and I believe Swift Flame even joining the team. And you got players like Resher, Beaver, Banger, Fuzzy Sloth, Drents, definitely named players in the North American scene that we have seen before. And then again, BMG, obviously their new roster. You got Haxer and Tankafet and Support going to be making their debut with Bad Monkey Gaming going into Cycle 2. So that I think it's safe to say is the standout match. What about you guys, Beef? What about you for Cycle 2 here?
well, yeah, you were like, oh man, and obviously there's the match we're all looking at, and I'm like, yeah, absolutely, Rexars versus Willowkeeper, and you're like, the other one, and I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
and then I'm like, wait, Dawn versus Reason as well? Holy crap, that's 3 really good matches and 1 really bad one. Like,
and then Sync versus Wop.
so,
Wow.
I think those are all really good matches. I think I'm personally looking forward to seeing Willowkeeper versus Rexars. I think that might be the closest.
Yeah.
And Boxy. So that's probably the one I'd keep my eye on. At the same time, I'm a Dawn fanboy. I just like this team for some reason. I don't know why. But I want to see them play against Reason. But I also want to see the new team. So I'm going to have to grow some extra eyes.
I'm gonna have to get some multi-streams going on and everything. Yeah, no doubt. And that's another thing I love about this format. We saw that Cycle 1, and we're going to continue to see it. I mean, just starting with the round of 8. We don't have 16 teams like before, just 8 teams. It does make those first-round matches, and every match really more of a point that it should have potential, at least, to be a really, really good match. I mean, sure, Sync versus Wop, probably going to be Sync in the end in that first round, but... You never know. Maybe Wop will come out of nowhere. Maybe the name change is going to really give them that energy.
Wop.
Mini Maga, what about you? What about
That's a
Cycle
great
2
name.
here? It's a great name.
Yeah, I think it's got to be BMG versus Nullstone Gaming, though. I mean, just because I honestly think Nullstone Gaming could take this off of BMG. Obviously, they've got great players in BMG. Obviously, got Haxrin and Support and Zibia and Super KG. But like I said, I mean, they've just newly formed, and then you got Nullstone Gaming, some good players on there, and they've been around for a while as well. So like Beaver Banger and Trent, and I think that game could go either way, honestly. So I think that'd be the most exciting game out of the round of 8.
Fantasy is Cycle 2 for you?
It's the same that my Mini Maggot said. Bad Monkey Gaming. How are they looking? How is Nullstone Gaming looking? I just heard in the chat that they're basically The Last of Us again. Quincy said that.
It does seem like. I mean, again, I'll pull them up on screen right here. You got Trent,
How's that
Beaverbinger,
legal?
Resher. I don't know. It is. Somehow the rules do state it that this is all allowed. I think it has something to do with the amount of roster changes you're allowed, and at least it has like a certain amount of players that were on it before, of course. So
As substitutes.
As substitutes.
Anyway,
yeah.
so yeah, I'm looking forward to that match, and obviously Willowkeeper against Rexar. I don't really know anything about Dawn, so Willowkeeper, Rexars sound very familiar. I was a Willowkeeper fan before, mostly because of Fusion, so I'm rooting for them, and I'm excited for that match.
Yeah, definitely. Again, a lot of potential to have some really good matchups there in the first round, especially, and then all throughout, of course. And speaking of that, now, what do you guys think here as far as predictions go? You think Cycle 2 it's going to be what we maybe all expect here, especially with where things are at right now in Sync Esports, or does anyone have different opinions, or Sync versus who? I mean, what do we got here, Beef?
Trying to make a Sync pun in my head, it's not working.
No.
I got Sync.
Just that. Who do you think they're going to play at least? Because again, that's the thing though. The number 2 team, it's I don't know. I mean, you look at the brackets, you look at the road that they're going to have to go through and everything, and
Tree.
I think it's going to be the Willowkeeper.
I think it's gonna be Tree.
All right, Mini Mag.
I'd give it 80% Tree, 15% Reason,
Yeah, you can't forget about Reason, man.
3% BMG,
Really breaking
and
this down.
2% Dawn. Yeah.
No love for Rexars.
2% Dawn. Okay.
No
No love for
Rexars.
Rexars.
Damn.
B for Rexars.
I forgot about Rexars.
Mini Mag, what about you? How do you think this is going to play out here?
I mean, yeah, like I said before, I think it could be any one of those top 3 teams with, I think, either Reason, Tree, or BMG. But I think I'm going to say Reason, just because they didn't have the greatest of starts in Cycle 1. Obviously, I think they got beat by Tree quite early on. But I mean, I've been seeing it. They've been scrimming a lot more, and they've got some kind of this new sort of passion or fire that they want to go further. They want to make that at least number 2. So I'm going to say Reason.
Yeah. Reason can't again. You can't forget about Reason. They've been around for forever. They really have been. They have a pretty consistent roster for the most part, and obviously they even got their new pickup in the CEO of Han and Pew, and pretty well last cycle as well, honestly. So will that keep up throughout the cycles? We'll see. But Fantasy, what about you?
I think I'm gonna go with Tree. I feel like Tree can beat pretty much anyone except Sync, but they can go toe to toe with Sync.
Yeah.
So I'm keeping my eye on Willowkeeper. I don't think Bad Monkey Gaming is there yet, and I think Reason Gaming and Willowkeeper are going to meet in the lower bracket finals.
So, has BMG been scrimming at all yet? Has anybody seen this team play at all yet?
I can't say for certain. I honestly don't
Mini
know.
Maggot, you're the one with the ear to the ground here.
I mean, I know they've been playing a lot of Tier Men, but as a team, I honestly couldn't tell you too much about it.
So that was kind of the issue with the previous squad. Like, they literally did not scrim
Yeah.
from Thailand until they semi-disbanded.
No scrim needed, apparently.
Well,
This
no
team,
scrim
they
needed
should need one. Yeah.
to lose the finals. So, I mean, and that's with Super KG and Zibby. I mean, they did come in rather late into the equation, but
Yeah.
you're going to need them to really get their motivation up if they want to beat Sync, because we kind of heard Keizu during the winner's interview after they kicked the BMG ass. Like, they want this.
Yeah.
They're ready to be the dominant team and do whatever it takes to keep being dominant.
Well, I mean, there's even more to that in the sense of I know money's not, it shouldn't be the ultimate motivator in the end, but there's good money on the line, man. I mean, $30,000 prize pool in Cycle 1. That's one of the bigger prize pools we've ever had for any tournament in Han, not just Han Tour. Speaking of some DreamHacks we've had. And then you got Cycle 2. We're actually up to $28,000. And I'm actually very surprised at that, to be frank. I mean, I figured it was going to be a case Cycle 1 was going to be a high point, a lot of hype around it. Then maybe die off in the midst. And then maybe Cycle 8, pick back up again. But to see it nearly the same already with Cycle 2, and I think there's even another day left or two here to get those numbers in. It could basically be nearly equivalent to that amount of money as well. And, we got all this talk about how there's all the scene's dead and there's not many good players left and everything. I mean, but yet there's a lot of good money on the line. And I think, Haxer and Tankafed players, they realize that. And in fact, even more to that, I also heard something about Nox even possibly coming back. I heard that he was starting to play a little bit again. Heroes and Newer. So we're starting to get actually some big names, paying attention to that, realizing, wait, there's actually good money on the line and, some opportunities here. So let's see what happens. But
Okay.
Yeah.
The real question is, if Nox is coming back, how far away is Pew? Because the CEO and
That's
Nox,
true.
they've been tight for a while now.
yeah,
The only thing that separated them was a trip to Thailand. So,
A very successful trip to Thailand.
a very successful trip with Immunity Storm. So, is the CEO coming back? This is the real question.
Well, he's
Maybe
Well-
the CEO's around. He can answer that for us.
I mean, again, he's playing for Reason Gaming, so it's a matter of would he actually form his own team,
kicking Imba Boy.
or kick Imba Boy, like that would be a thing.
German out.
Get out of here. No, I don't see that happening. So
No, you need Nox and Pew on the same team.
it's the only way it all works.
I mean, I've heard there's some more players coming back as well. At least trying to form a team with I think Pani, Fabelli, and Mazera. I think are trying to form a team as well. Actually,
Yeah.
From what I've heard from the grapevine, anyway. But see how that works as well. So I mean, there's a lot of new or old players coming back. Like you said, there's a lot of money on the line, and why not? I mean, this is probably the perfect time to try and form a team and get a lot of money because, like you said, there's probably going to be more money on the line as well in terms of the next couple of cycles. So now's the time.
Yeah. This is the time, if any, to start making the comeback. But again, that's even more to the point where you're kind of with that whole start with beef of, are they screaming? And if they're not, I think they're going to have quite the eye opener. Coming into this, thinking, we're Haxer and Tankafed, and we're just going to dominate from the beginning. And they're not sounding like that, but
I hope Tanka sounds like that.
that attitude though, of that we're just going to come back. We don't have to practice. We're big name players from before. We'll just come in and take the easy money. I don't think that's going to happen. I think it will be an eye-opener this weekend especially. Hell, with even that first matchup there against Nullstone Gaming once again for a team like BMG. So, like I said, this cycle really is going to tell us a lot in several cases. BMG situation, what other teams are looking like right now, and then again, Sync being the top team. And will that stand? And actually, I was noticing, too, from Cycle 1, Willowkeeper did not get the chance to play Sync at all in the first cycle because they got knocked out both times by BMG in the winner's bracket and then eventually in the loser's bracket. So they don't have as much experience against Sync Esports as they do against, of course, other teams, especially like the previous BMG and whatnot. So that would be really interesting again to see them match up. And do they have potential? Let me look at the bracket right here once again. They would have to meet later on in the bracket, if not the grand final. So we'll see if that comes about. Well, anything else to add to Cycle 2 here, guys, before moving on in the podcast?
I'm looking forward to watching the matches live this cycle.
Yeah.
Because I miss Honcast chat.
Gonna be around for that. Good.
I'm gonna raise my dongers.
Raise those dongers. Not yet.
Oh, yes.
Don't do it now.
You're gonna get
banned.
Well, I can raise it right now. Do it. I don't care.
I'm beef. All right. So I think we can move on, though, to the next topic here. And, we've been touching on this a little bit already, too. But the power rankings. Like I said, Quincy's kind of taken lead on this project. It's been a while since we used to do Honcast Top 10 rankings in the past. And, it died out for the longest time. But bringing it back here, the power rankings, the good old competitive scene in Heroes of New Earth, and getting an idea of where teams are at. And I think it's a pretty good time, too, in the sense that, again, we have our top team in sync, but we have a lot of these newer teams and newer players that are starting to, get more and more attention. So who are these guys and where do we rank them? So I do got the three of us here. Fantasy chose not to do and felt like he didn't have enough information.
There is a legitimate reason for it.
There's a legitimate reason. Well, he's got plenty of information on Southeast Asia and CIS, which we'll get into again after anyways. But so we'll start with Bill. We'll put Beef on the spot here, as usual, and we'll start with him and go over his power rankings here as far as what he has thought. And so again, this is all updated here. So you got what, Sync first? Shocker. I don't think anyone else did not do that. But you put BMG fourth right there, so you're feeling pretty good about them. That's what stands out to me.
Did people put him below fourth?
Somebody.
Yeah,
okay.
I did.
I don't know. So you're wrong.
So Beef, what happened? What happened in the last power rankings? I was the only person, except for me and Diglett, to put Zinc as number one, and they got first, Cycle 1.
Barely.
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 They made it. I was the only person to get every single team right last cycle.
Yeah, but did you predict that they were going to leave the scene?
No, did you?
That's true.
Absolutely not. But that was unforeseeable information. If I had known they were going to leave the scene, I would have put them second. Easy as that. Anyway,
Easy.
I got Willow Keeper on number 2. My boy Boxy, gonna hold it down. Reason Gaming, I have faith. I have faith in Imbaboy. I have faith in Pew. We'll see. BMG, I put them pretty much there based on their previous experience. I would have put them higher, but they need time to mesh and play some scrims. Dawn, I'm a big fan of Dawn. I don't know. I keep thinking in my head that they're like, I don't know if it's like the dawn of a new day or if they're like the soap that gets your dishes really clean. But I like both of those, and it's just something in my head. I really like them.
Yeah.
Nullstone Gaming, they were the last of us when I submitted this, but I had them up there. Rexars, and then Moe's Tavern, aka Wop Wop. Looking at this right now, I think I'd actually like to put Rexars at number 6, but it's too late.
It's final.
I mean, that's pretty much where I'm at. The only reason the Rexars are as low as they are is because I can never remember the names of their players. And
true.
I found it really hard to remember all the colors and to say their names. They're pretty good, though. They're pretty good players.
They've shown some decent results. They have.
Yeah.
All right. Mini Maggot, we'll go on to yours now. Your power rankings here. And again, so as you were mentioning, BMG 6th on your you gave more love to Dawn.
Yeah, I don't know, just because I think, they're great players, but I think scrimming and having recent practice is a lot more important. And we saw obviously Dawn go through the whole qualifiers, not even drop a game. Yeah, they didn't have the greatest of Cycle 1 performances, but at least they've got a standpoint in the sense of okay, they know what to improve on, but they've had their experience somewhat. Whereas BMG, I think they might sort of rest on their laurels a little bit too much. Obviously, they've got great players in like Haxer and Tank Fit support, but without practicing, it wouldn't be surprised if they get knocked down by Dawn or Nullstone Gaming. And that's what I think we're going to see. I think they're going to stay in Diamond, but I think they won't get above 6th or at least 5th.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a scary thing. They have to be I'm looking more and more at the brackets right here as far as Cycle 2 is concerned, and if as we talk about, BMG mentions against Nullstone Gaming, and kind of The Last of Us, really, and they by no means can't compete, and they could very likely take a victory there over BMG with their new roster and everything, and then that means BMG would be knocked in the loser's bracket, and then they would be matched up against the loser of Willowkeeper versus Rexars. I mean, two very good teams, obviously. It could be possible that BMG, this new team, even gets dropped down to gold. That would not be, honestly, that surprising with the way the brackets especially are set up. So that's where I think, I'm looking at Minimaggott's rankings there and everything. There is potential for them to, perhaps have a stumble, but...
You really think they're going to lose to Nullstone Gaming?
I'm not saying that they are. I'm saying there is a good chance.
They will.
There's a solid chance.
I just don't see it
Nullstone.
happening.
They will, man. Just wait.
I don't see it happening. I'd put a bet on it right now.
Oh, dang. What are we doing? Gold coins? McGriddles?
No, not gold coins. Yeah, McGriddles.
You trying to FedEx them to Europe?
FedEx to Europe.
I will put my McGriddle rights on the line. I will abstain from eating a McGriddle for the next 6 months if BMG loses to Nullstone.
Wow. All right.
What do I have to
And
put on the line?
I like McGriddles. You don't get
nothing.
this way without liking McGriddles.
Yeah.
So, Mini Maggot, what are you putting on the line that is going to be on an even playing field of my love of McGriddles?
I don't know. What is even a McGriddle anyway?
But
I already linked you the definition of a McGriddle earlier.
You're from the UK. You probably have like a soccer ball around or something.
Okay.
You'll get rid of the soccer ball.
I will abstain from drinking.
Wow.
All right.
You'll abstain from what?
Drinking tea. If you.
Okay, that's another
thing.
Whoa,
that's good. Okay. Right? Whoa. Yeah, he's a British guy giving up tea.
Welcome to the Stereotype Podcast.
All right, here we go. Boom.
He's the one that said it. I mean, he is from the UK.
Done. BMG, like don't let me down.
Wow. BMG Nullstone Gaming, even more on the line now. They're going to be playing for McGriddles and tea, as well as other things, of course. Other things. All right. Again, I'm not saying it is absolutely going to happen by any means, but there is potential. This is not like the obvious, BMG and Sync are going to both move on in the winners bracket, because, again, what's been happening and everything. So that would be something, though. But that's the other thing about this, especially with this format. I mean, knowing that two of these teams are going to be bounced back down to Gold Division, who will they be? Well, we'll have to find out, obviously, going into the weekend. So... there you go. With that was cycle number 2. And, Power Rankings. That's where we're at. So Power Rankings there. So, yeah, Minimaggot. I mean, was there anything else you wanted to add there, Minimaggot, for your Power Rankings? Or?
No, I just think, obviously, the BMG thing is probably the biggest thing. I think Willowkeeper and Reason Gaming could be quite interchangeable. So I wouldn't be surprised if I put Reason above Willowkeeper. But other than that, not much to add.
Those McGriddles. That's what's on the line here. For those that don't know McGriddles. Those things.
I mean, it's not like I eat a McGriddle every day, but every once in a while, like once a month, you wake up, you're like, man, I could just really go for a McGriddle right now.
It's just once a month.
Just once.
I don't know, maybe once every couple months.
You drink tea every dinner and breakfast.
Do you?
Yeah.
Every dinner and breakfast.
Well, you have it like when you just want a bit of tea, as you do.
You should have tea with McGriddles. Sounds actually pretty good.
That sounds disgusting. You need to delete your lies and apologize right now.
Wow. There's some insight into that. Where are we at? Okay. We'll do mine. Here's mine. The right one, as always. I got Wop Wop 7th. I guess that was different. I got Nullstone Gaming 8th. I don't know why I did that. I think that was before I actually knew their whole roster, to be honest. Why did I put them 8th? Wow. Okay, well, I'll stick with it. They're going to finish 8th. They are coming from gold, to be fair. And they were the... if I'm not mistaken, Wop Wop won gold Psycho 1, I believe, so... a.k.a. Moe's Tavern. So, Nullstone Gaming they're coming in finishing 2nd. So, and I see what you got in chat, actually. And, well, come on. I mean, you're the one that just joined this team. You know that. Anyway, so yeah, I got the 8th. Other than that, I mean, it's pretty much the same, I think, that even Beef had for the most part. BMG 4th right there. But I would not be surprised. It could be very different. And this, see, now this is where the rankings are also kind of, obviously they're simply just for fun in the end. That's what they're about. But how do you individually go about your rankings? Now, Minimag and I were kind of going back and forth about this. He likes to use these as basically predictions of what's going to happen in the next cycle. I personally, how I used to do them in the past and how I do them now is more of a where their results that they had. You know, that's why I put BMG first over Sync, because in the Carnage of Kaldavar, they won both of those. I found no reason to put Sync over BMG for that reason alone. So, you know, that's what I kind of look at, and, you know, perhaps why, you know, I did do these rankings the way I did, but Minimag likes to think about the future.
It's a power
ranking.
ranking.
So.
It's not a predictor of the next cycle. It's a power ranking.
Yeah, but surely if you're if you're like a ranking of power, then surely that's gonna tell in the next cycle of the next tournament.
No, you might have a power outage. It's gonna be brief. Then you'll be back on track.
Definitely.
T.
Okay.
And then here's the overall. This was actually from not only the panel that was chosen, but also the community actually got their input as well as far as their overall votes and what was counted towards it. So overall, you know, you got the power rankings now. They look right now. Sync, of course, first. You got Willowkeeper second. Reason Gaming third. BMG in that fourth place spot. Don, Rexars, Nullstone Gaming, and Wop Wop to finish it off. So that's how the overall power rankings look as of today, going into cycle number 2.
Yeah, pretty much identical to where I'm at.
Just about.
You want a cookie?
I would love a cookie.
Too
You're
bad.
offering to supply me. Wow.
Don't offer me.
So
Can't come
Quincy
through.
brought up. You know what? Never mind. I'm not going to bring it up. It's inappropriate.
Please bring it up.
Okay, now you have to bring it up.
Yeah. You can't just say that.
What did he bring up?
Finish on what you're gonna say.
Well, Quincy said that Wop Wop might be an inappropriate name because it involves a pejorative toward Italians and or Italian Americans.
Oh, we're gonna have to go to.
Is this an issue?
What
Let's
is the
discuss
Urban
this right now.
Dictionary?
Like, is
Urban
this an
Dictionary.
issue? Should we be offended? Should we, urge for this to be a name change? I personally don't think it's offensive. I was thinking it was the sound that makes when she attacks. She goes whop whop.
I mean, I typed in an Urban
not-
Dictionary,
It's nothing to do with that, yeah.
which is dangerous, but from what I found, it's just Wop Wops out in the sticks, the middle of nowhere, last stop before nowhere. It doesn't really. That's what it.
Which sums
says.
up NA esports in a nutshell. So I think they're fine.
So what you're saying is Quincy is just trying to stir up shit.
Apparently.
Yeah,
It's just-
that's nothing to do. That's like it's
Quincy
all
the
like
drama
rap and stuff,
creator.
isn't it? It's like some crazy like R&B rap and like twerking and shit like that. I'm pretty sure.
What?
Well, it can mean many
Yeah.
things.
What?
No.
What?
Yeah. What? You
What?
guys
Say this
saying?
again.
Well-
I just heard R&B rap twerking.
To be fair, the picture that they use is of a rapper. It looks like so J
Exactly.
Dash, Wop
That's what
J
it's
Dash.
like.
I don't know.
That's what it is.
I'm not caught up in pop culture.
Do you even what, Beast?
I'm
Do
too
you
old
even
for
what?
this.
I do the doo wop.
Wow.
You know what? That's
What are you, from
that's
the
a
60s
dancer
all of a
back
sudden
in the
now?
day, Yeah.
Not that old. Come on now. Anyways,
I don't know, man.
I mean, yeah,
I personally don't think it's an issue. I think it's still the sound that the Mechano Arachna makes when she quacks like a duck. Wop, wop, wow. Wop, wop.
that's how it
Anyway.
goes. No,
That
keep
is how
going.
it goes. Breaky, I've pointed this out to you during a cast before.
I think you have, yeah.
I have. And you thought it was hilarious.
It was.
So
All right.
let's take a moment to put some bets on the table. You know, Mini Maggot and I already had our bet. But the Cardinals are playing the Chargers next week, or this
Well,
week, actually. And we happen to have 2 Chargers fans and a Cardinals fan here.
2 Chargers?
And yeah, they're both Chargers
You are
fans.
British and a Charger fan.
Why not? What's wrong with that?
So you
That's
don't know
fine.
He knows
about
what the right
soccer
team to
and
root
about
for.
soccer.
Whoa, whoa! My girlfriend's from San Diego, so
There
I'm
you
kind
go.
of enforced. I'm sorry.
And he has
So-
a girlfriend.
We need to get some trash talk.
Why?
and
Is that
we need to get some. We need to get some trash talk and or some bets going on right now.
5 McGriddles that the Chargers win.
How are you going to ship McGriddles over there?
How are you guys? That's going to be even more disgusting than they already are.
Well, there might be so many preservatives in them that they might arrive just fine. Actually,
That's a good
Completely as
chance,
intended.
actually, yeah.
I don't even want
They'll
to.
do just fine. I'm not gonna pull a Tralfamador by any means and
And put
Shave
your
your
hair
head,
on the
Shave
line?
my head, but
I'm not going to do it either.
no. I mean, the Chargers are going to win. There's no point to bet anything on it, so we'll just
It's already happened. Like,
we'll just settle with that. That's what's going to happen anyways.
That's a terrible.
We are horrible trash talkers.
I don't know.
Why
I don't
did
know
you
how
set this up? Why are we going so off topic?
the worst playoff team ever can be so confident?
I know.
But yeah,
The worst player. Hold on, who are you talking about?
yeah, the Chargers.
Oh, I thought you were talking
You
about.
were just in the fucking playoffs because you play in the AFC.
What the?
Oh,
Hold on.
close.
Who won the Super Bowl last year?
Our division.
That's right.
How did you not know that?
I had to
God,
think. I had to
thank
think for
you.
a
You just
second.
lost the bet already by default.
Who won the?
Who won the Super Bowl before that? Hold on. Super Bowl.
What?
List of Super Bowl champions. Let's see.
Or it's AFC team host. So what? It was one time.
One
Before
time.
that,
There's been many
Yeah.
times, sir. Many times. Let's
Well-
see. The last. Okay, well, it's kind of back and forth. Anyways, Chargers are gonna win. That's what matters. Speaking of
They're
fantasy,
not, but-
though,
Chargers haven't been relevant since they had LT. Just
that's
saying.
kind of true, actually.
Just saying.
See, that I will kind of agree with.
Then again, my team literally couldn't buy enough ACLs if you could buy ACLs. Like,
Sam Bradford runs out of it in training
Robotic
camp.
ACLs gonna be Haxorn of the NFL.
we need robot legs.
Oh,
Action
boy.
contacts.
He's back.
And people ask why Han is on decline.
We're sitting here talking about NFL on the Han podcast.
Watch Life on 3. They talk about complete randomness for 45 minutes before they talk about esports.
Yeah, but they're slasher, so they can get away with everything.
That's true.
Well, because he has no job.
because he has
Esports
also no
journalism is a job.
Well, yeah.
Wait, what?
Esports journalism is a job. You
Yeah,
can't live.
if you have a job, but he got fired from his job.
You can't live off it
Oh.
because you can't pay with passion at a counter. I tried,
We-
but
we should talk about Han again.
I think. All right.
That's a good looking jersey though, Fantasy. Way better than the
I know.
powder shit that Breaky's wearing.
This is old school, man. This is.
I'm
this
just
is
saying,
old school
dude. Like,
jersey.
at least you can go with like
Powder
the dark
blue. I got a
just
dark
love the-
blue, but powder blue's better.
the backstory is he gave me that to my birthday, so he wants some credit. That's all
That's-
why he's bringing it up.
That's not why I'm saying that at
Oh.
all. I think it actually is a
I
really
see how
good
it
looking
is.
jersey.
Who are the Rams playing? What is that?
Oh, somebody's just gonna dominate us.
Doesn't
the
even matter,
doctors
apparently.
at the rehab facility.
We just signed Case Keenum. Our season's over. Like,
Texan.
we're done.
Baby.
You're fine. All right, back on track here. Fantasy, we're going to go to the next topic here. The CIS Southeast Asian region. And actually, there's quite a bit here as far
Yes!
as what's been going on.
Oh, we haven't
over
talked
there.
about it for a very, very long
We
time.
have not. So, if you want to give us some major things that have been happening here.
Well, the
Both
most
regions.
major storyline that is there is the finish of the second cycle of the Thai Hon Tour, and with Neo Illusion MRR ending their almost 2-year-long drought of not having a title, always being close but not having a title. It started with GSL 2013. Before that was the last time they ever won anything. And right now they put it together and finally did it.
So, who's the star player from MRR? I recall them having is it Dweeku?
The really star player of the team in Thailand is Shitawan.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
Cheetah
Cheetah
But-
won.
And
But isn't Dweeku? Doesn't he play
Yeah,
for them?
the carry we all get excited about at the
Ducky?
Worlds is
I
Duke.
thought it was
And
Ducky.
Worlds. Dweeku.
Yes. He's also known as KSSA. For everyone that watched DreamHack Winter 2011, he was already on the roster there, just with
He
another
was
name.
a pretty damn good carry. He played some very solid Puppet Master at Worlds.
Oh yeah, he's good.
Easy hero.
He's pretty okay.
He's decent.
It's all right. So,
So-
what do I have up here right here? This is like they do like a group. So they do like a group stage where everyone plays everyone. 18 teams it looks like, and they
Yes.
each play each other twice in 2 games. Is
Did
what
I
it looks
link you
like.
that?
Yeah.
I did
So
link you that.
that's what I have up here. So, and then you got wins, ties, and losses, meaning if they tie,
Yes.
meaning a 1-1 split. Okay.
Yeah, it's just a static 2 matchup. Everyone plays everyone.
Yeah.
It's every day for 16 days straight.
Dang.
And the top 3 are making the playoffs. The
top
overall
3,
top,
okay.
yeah, the top 3. It was in Han Tour Southeast Asia. It was top 4. Now they cut it down to top 3, and the top seeders automatically into the grand finals.
Yeah. Okay. So you got Neo MR, Hybrid Gaming, and Turtle Master are going to be the
yes.
Well,
Hybrid
yeah.
Gaming is
Hybrid is
is
S2Y.
the old
Okay.
made in Thailand S2Y minus 2 players.
Okay. So it's the teams that we expected. Those are the top 3 teams you
sorta.
say? Yeah.
Yeah, sort of. Like Made in Thailand lost Tianza and Escape, who are now in Shooter Esports, the 4th place team. And they picked up, I think, 2 players from Neolution, if I'm not mistaken. I think they picked up Ball, and someone else. I don't remember right now.
So, Fantasy, the real question here, Chitawan wins. How does this affect his girlfriend?
She also won, so they're like the royal family in Thailand.
What?
His girlfriend is I don't really know how to pronounce her name. It's M Hot or something.
Mahad.
It's May is her real name. I can pronounce that much
But
better.
she's
She's
the
the
captain
captain
of
of
Team
Dominatrix.
Dominatrix.
Yes.
Oh,
Is
that's the
number
female
1
team.
Female team.
the most dominant female team in Thailand right now. They won.
So now they're both at the top.
Dang.
Royal family.
Like I said.
Boyfriend
Nailed
and
it.
girlfriend
So-
at the top of the Han scene.
Fancy, can you explain a little bit about the Thai female scene? Because
Yeah,
I mean,
what-
we've been doing some reporting on that, and people seem to be reading a lot about those articles because there's some cute girls. What's up with that?
That's actually why we are reporting it. But yeah.
Hey. Whatever works, right? I'm trying to find the one of the articles actually, because I do remember the interview you did.
Oh yeah.
Uh,
That was
one of
a
them.
very good interview, actually.
Yeah.
Is any of them single?
Top tie. Okay, I got it right here. Yeah.
I'm gonna come to that in the shoutouts.
If they're single, just
Ended
hook
up
me up,
single.
yeah? Okay, cool.
Dang. Did you just say you had a girlfriend in San
Yeah,
Diego?
she doesn't
Wow.
Doesn't watch.
Wow.
She doesn't watch this. It's fine.
The
All right.
player over here.
Ethics on this podcast.
Oh, good.
Jeez.
Grim.
MM Hot. Okay.
Yeah, that's M Hot.
Okay.
MM Hot or something. I don't know.
That's May May.
Yeah, check out this
That's
article if you haven't yet. I'll link it in chat here. Or the interview there. Yeah, you guys
Yeah.
did.
Well, like, here's like this one right here is like a preview of some of their finals, because I mean the way that their system works is actually that they have a 4-team invitational.
Yeah, they
During-
invite the
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
the champion gets re-invited every time, so that's a lock. And the rest of the teams are getting an invite as well. It just happens to be the 3 teams are getting re-invited this time for the first and second cycle.
And so
But
they're
it-
like the opening event for the Thai Han Tour Grand Finals every time.
Yeah,
They play
the Thai
there
Han-
on land in Bangkok, right?
Yeah, they play in the Thai studios. They all meet there, and the female tournament is on Saturday. Yeah, it's a 2-day event, Saturday and Sunday. The female event is on Saturday, and the main event on Saturday is the semifinals of the guys. Before
So,
They have a
Alright.
big female scene over there.
I mean,
they have,
That's-
I asked about if there is potential for a female league, and May said yes. And then I asked an admin if that's something they are planning on doing, and they actually have plans in the work to make a little female Han tour. Probably not as big, probably not 18 teams,
yeah.
a little bit smaller. But when you look at Dominatrix and they scrim every day, they scrim
Good.
against very, very different teams every single time. I don't know
Yeah.
if those are just randoms or not, but they are really.
Well, have you actually watched their matches? Some of their matches
Yeah.
being played, and like, would you say like
Right.
they're decent, or I mean,
I would
I
say low gold for me.
yeah, okay. That's just still
Too bad.
very respectable.
Sounds
Yeah.
good.
Do they?
I don't know if I would put them that high. They have a lot of things to learn, but they are very eager to learn, and they are getting professional help from the guys.
Yeah.
Like Dominatrix is basically like a small Neolution female team, so they're asking those guys. I know that Dukri is actually coaching Mei Mei because they are both carries, and she gets advice from them. I heard something about Keizu being involved there as well. I don't know.
Dang.
Keizu?
Keizu.
Keizu,
Getting
getting involved.
Yeah.
I need to start
That's
getting
what I
involved
heard.
as well. Like,
No,
Can
you're
we,
not.
can we get some confirmation or denial?
I think he was here earlier. Maybe he'll speak up.
I'm gonna message him on Skype.
That's interesting.
That's what I heard.
There's
From
no more.
America.
There's no more like European players that are there or anything, right? It's all like there's no more Nova or.
No, there's
that
no
situation.
no guys like that
That
anymore.
didn't work out too well in the end. I mean, Nova, he had a
not.
good time, but
Well, yeah, but that
The
didn't
team
transfer
itself.
into the game.
yeah, that was an interesting experience. I just a lot of the. I don't actually see him talking, but. Oh, cool though. That's definitely very interesting to hear about. You know, it's one thing to hear about the competitive scene in general, but especially the girls' competitive scene. Even wouldn't have guessed that. But yeah, no, as we were pointing out, we're linking right there. Definitely have been articles, and again, Hontour.com guys, you should be checking that out. And
Yeah,
totally-
it started last time. Like it was the first. It started at GSL 14, I think, with the Midwest tournament. You guys have probably more insight on that because you were actually there.
well, yeah. Okay. Wait,
Yeah,
so the World Finals, what you're talking about?
Yeah,
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I mean, it was a busy time. Didn't have.
Well.
Wait. Let's just say those were our break times of all the chaos that was going on. But no, yeah, I do remember them being on the main stage though and everything. Yeah.
yeah. So they had a Midwest tournament, and Dominatrix won that, and then they
Okay.
started doing these little. I don't know how to call it, like female Hontour light or something.
Okay.
And they
Cool.
started doing that with the Cycle 1 final of the guys. Put it in front of them.
Yeah.
And
That'd be interesting.
So-
Would there ever be a thing where they compete against the guys, or is that just they're just keeping that separate?
I know that that Dominatrix is actually playing the Thai Hontour as well. They were actually Division 1, I think. Division 1, and they won a couple of games, I think. But they didn't make it to the G League yet.
Okay.
And I think when I asked...
So they're
May
allowed to
about-
though. They're allowed to
Yeah,
participate
they are
if
allowed.
they want to. Yeah.
There
Okay.
is no Hearthstone Finland gender restrictions going on.
God, that didn't last long.
Oh boy, shots are being fired.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, you should put yourself in that position.
Yeah, that was silly. Cool. No, that's really cool. Yeah, definitely keep information on that as far as how they ultimately may perform. And about possible girls haunt tour over there. So, the Thai mid-season event. I think you were even kind of talking about this a little bit, but you got some pictures at this kind of big land that they had
That was crazy.
over there. Yeah, I mean, that's some legit stuff right there. So
That's a major arena, yeah.
Yeah. So what is the mid-season event then?
They just
Basically.
the way I heard it is that they booked the venue on accident, and then they
Okay.
just decided to make the Han mid seasons, and they threw in like a Southeast Asian World Cup kind of thing in FIFA Online.
Okay.
It was in this venue. The venue is going to be used to run the Han Tour Thailand finals as well.
Okay. Very cool.
But the way I know it was that they booked this on accident, and so they just ran an event and it was packed the entire
How many
time.
people? So that looks like a couple thousand even could possibly fit in there.
Yeah, I
Really?
think it's. I don't know numbers 100%, but it looks pretty big. There's the last pick. Did you? No,
Yeah.
That it goes way back, and there's even like a second floor or something.
Cool. Very cool to
Pretty
see
big.
stuff like that. Yeah.
Indeed.
Yeah. Thailand, man, they know what they're doing with Han over there. They have a good time with it. That's for sure. So. Okay. So cool. Yeah. Keep an update on the Thailand or Southeast Asia technically, but yeah, Thailand specifically, of course. Their Han scene over there. So another Han scene though that we talked about a little bit earlier. I mean, kind of growing it more and more, and then they're being pretty consistent themselves is the CIS region over there in Russia and whatnot. So you got some events continually happening and pulling up some information on that. It looks like a name team though, Swag. They've been around. And Cats Gaming also a couple of team names that we would recognize, but. So what? These are just kind of weekly things that they do, or is this kind of their version?
No,
of
this is the first cycle of Han Tour, and the way it works over there. Did I link you that or not?
I got the cycle 1 link here. Yeah, it's
unfortunately Russian. They play a group stage, round robin group stage, best of 1, I think.
Okay,
if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, best of 1. They do that for I think it lasts 2 weeks or so. They play 3 days every day. 3 games every day. And everyone goes to the playoffs, but the top 4 seeds are seeded into the upper bracket. The 4 lower seeds are seeded into the lower bracket. Mm-hmm. And the team that loses first in the lower bracket is demoted, and the rest just moves on to cycle 2 or cycle 3.
Cool.
Of gold.
Okay. So, do we know how many cycles that they have?
I think they are gonna run 4 or 3. I'm not 100% sure.
And is it still the teams like Swag and Cats? I see Cats finished 4th over there.
Cats, that's the big story of that cycle. Yeah. Cats has been the dominant team. Some slip-ups here and there with GA Russia going to DreamHack and ITS going to DreamHack, but other than that, they were pretty consistent throughout. Mm-hmm. They were even doing good when there was no segregation going on, when Russia was still part of the European client.
Yeah.
Like when I started writing 3 years ago, they were competing in all those European mini tournaments and all that stuff.
Oh yeah, they were some of the first big name Russian players.
Guess Who and Guess Who and FF, known as HHH, I think on our client. They're yeah.
They're back
I'm not sure if it's Triple H or just 2 H's.
Just a double H.
Didn't want to get Hunter Hearst Helmsley in here.
It's from the Faye V scandal days. Definitely, they were around there too.
That's right.
Pretty good carry as well.
Yeah,
he's one of the best. I think there is another one. I can't remember on which team he is. He's called Tendy or something. Tendy. He also won a 1v1 tournament that they did a couple of weeks ago.
He's on Swag. It looks like That's
yeah, I think so. He's the star or captain of Swag, star of Cap.
Cool.
Swag.
And we were talking about earlier. So the Thailand, do they stream on Twitch as well?
Thailand streams on YouTube.
They're on the YouTube. Okay.
And sometimes I don't know what happens there, but sometimes Epic Gaming Television, the guys around Babel, Xenoviper, are getting Thai Hunter matches, but it's very, very, I don't know,
inconsistent.
It's very inconsistent. Yeah, I don't know what prompts them to do them or who tells them to do them, but
I
think they did 3 last cycle. And it was on very weird days and not announced and all that kind of shit.
Okay, now you got right here, Garena RU is twitch.tv/Garena RU for the
they
CIS
stream
section.
on Twitch. They stream both divisions on Twitch. I think they have 2 or 3 streams up every night, streaming the first division, the gold division, silver division, and I think they also stream the I don't even know what the copper. I don't know, the last division that they have.
Huh.
I'm talking in StarCraft terms here. It's copper.
Is it actually copper?
I don't know. It's Kappa, I think. That's what it goes down to.
Yeah.
Twitch chat, please help me out with. Twitch chat, help me out with that joke, please.
The Kappa division.
Hold on a second. I gotta get on my keyboard here. And there we go. There it is.
I thought you were going to post me the troll face. It's bronze.
Bronze. Of course it is.
Yeah.
That's what we would think.
We're fucking idiots.
Group us all in.
Yeah,
all right.
You all should know bronze for the Han Tour medals. Yeah.
All right, cool. That's CIS right there. And then... Okay. And then I'll do the next post right there. So it looks like this is the Singapore, or just Southeast Asia in general.
Oh, boy.
And they had a lot of forfeits.
It's Malaysia, and Singapore doing a Han League because they can't get their shit together to do a Southeast Asian Han Tour again. This is their equivalent of a Han Tour, I think. At least it says in the what is information about MHSL, but it's just a.
In the past, they've had the Malaysia-Singapore Han Championships, so I mean, this isn't the first time those two countries.
Yeah, but those were different. Those were big tournaments. Like we started when you remember back with the Malaysian Han Championship.
Yeah, I think Orange won that one way back in the day.
Yeah, Orange won that against, I think, MUFC, and there was back then there was Han Portal Malaysia did very good, and another fourth team. I can't remember. But then they started doing the Malaysia Singapore Han Tour, and it was already not that well received anymore. And now they're doing the Han League, and it's just a clusterfuck.
All right, so
it's really
I just like how they have a team named Evil Genius Gaming.
Yeah, it's we
it's just a matter of time. Until Garfield
Beef and I talked
them
about
down.
that. And Alex Garfield pulls out his hammer.
The EGG. All right, well, again, so EGG. Team Bricks actually sounds familiar that I recognize on that
Bricks
list, but
is
too well.
has only the leader left, I think.
Okay, so
Softer was the captain of Team Bricks in Han Tour Southeast Asia.
Bricks,
I think they even made it to.
They made it to Bangkok, as a wild card.
Yeah.
Wait, are there Russian teams playing in it? Because you got Swag and It's Showtime are in like Silver Division. But
Yeah,
they
but
just
that's
happen
not
to be the same
that's,
names.
that's,
Okay,
That's just copycats in Southeast Asia
that would have been
because they
interesting.
can't come up with their own.
And they
stuff.
also have Stay Gempak, which is probably
Stay
their
Gem-
version of Stay Green.
Where?
A lot of similarity. Yeah, the last place in Silver.
Eighth place in silver.
Grade 8th place in silver. What-
Great, mate. I'd rate them 8 out of 8.
And they are 8. They're 8 out of 16. Holy.
Oh, okay. I thought
16.
there were only 8 teams there.
Oh,
Well, that's not
yeah,
as funny anymore.
No, not
You're
so
rarely
much.
Great.
Anyways,
Well,
Well,
So
there
the
you go.
major-
so
I mean, overall,
hopefully
though-
they'll get their shit together.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, especially though in Thailand and even CIS, definitely some very good things going on over there. And like you're talking about too, if anything, kind of consistency with their coverage and casts, and they got some good information out there. So definitely look for the possible streams on Twitch or even the YouTube stream that the Thailand haunt scene does. So good times there. Thank you for that, Fantasy. That's some good updates there.
welcome.
Sorry, so what's
Glad
going
I
on
can
around the
contribute
world?
and
that, was,
And
actually
of
talk.
course,
that was plenty.
if you want more info, consistent info, Hontour.com.
Yes.
Fantasy's in charge of
Hello,
Southeast Asia, Thailand, and CIS, and keeps us updated on all the stuff that's going on over there.
That he does.
Yay!
Yay, Fantasy. All right, so, I mean, that pretty much covers most of really what we wanted to talk about here on the podcast. Kind of, recapping, obviously, what happened in Cycle 1, previewing Cycle 2, going over the other regions as well and what's to come. And, and the last thing left, really, just to keep getting hyped for this coming weekend here. What is Cycle number 2? But, I mean, I figured also just to have a little bit of extra time here. Again, we did see quite a bit of different heroes this weekend, and as far as diversity goes, with heroes like Amun-Ra popping up, Mage, but we didn't see Berserker, though. That was the one that we happened to not see after all that time, but in due time once again. I want to kind of go across. Is there any heroes that you guys think maybe still has potential to actually be pretty good that we could possibly see that we didn't see? How about that we didn't see this last weekend?
see.
We did see Riptide a couple times.
Wait, did we see Kinesis?
We saw Kinesis a couple times.
Yeah.
Yeah, we definitely did.
Okay.
So you can't do that.
Um,
Obviously,
I
I
feel
got
like-
Berserker.
The answer is Oogie.
we
Just
saw
before
We
you-
did see
Yeah,
Oogie a couple
Oogie
times.
was getting played a bit.
Yeah.
Did Pearl get played?
Pearl did
No.
not get played. Not this last cycle, I don't believe. I
No,
don't know
no
if Pearl's
bubble pop
really,
going on.
No.
I think Pearl's really strong, but I think Pearl, you have to find the right sort of team lineup to go with her. I think Pearl would actually work really, really well against sort of like, actually in the grand finals would work perfect. Like there was so much team fight potential with like, like your Magma Sears and your Tempest. Like, I mean, Pearl is like the perfect counter sort of team fighter and can really sort of screw the enemy team up. And I think Pearl is a really strong hero. It's just hard to lane her. For one example, I mean, you have to sort of run her in like a short lane, 2v1, and there's a lot of, tri lanes and stuff, and so you can get screwed if you pick up Pearl too early, for example. So
Yeah.
Just depends.
Huh. According to Quincy, Kinesis wasn't played in Cycle 1, I guess. Maybe I was thinking about the qualifiers then.
I
Okay.
thought so.
Okay, well
Kinesis
then.
then.
Yeah, Kinesis.
Kinesis will own.
Surprised to hear
Next
about that.
Well,
I don't know. Nothing has really changed with that hero, though. So that's just like,
The
I don't know.
hero's so strong. Yeah, well, it had
And we
that
have seen
somewhat
him.
recent. I had somewhat recent buffs, like with just more quality of life buffs. But the hero is so strong. I mean, it was the one game we casted where I think Kinesis had like 25% hero damage out of the whole team. Like that's insane for us, like a first support. I mean, I don't know why teams are not utilising more often. I mean, yeah, I know it's somewhat hard to lane, but the hero has got so much good potential. I'd love to see him more in Cycle 2.
I think Emerald Warden is kind of another one that has potential. That the silencing shot of hers, how strong that is and how powerful it can be. Solid laner with their wolves, and the ultimate passive, sure, not the most entertaining, but they can help get the job done. And vision with the trap. So I think Emerald Warden is kind of one that kind of stands out to me as one that we just don't see or haven't seen yet. But again, with the way we're seeing crazy amount of heroes, possibly could be one. But
Yeah, I think with Emerald Warden though, like we used to see, I think BMG played it a little bit. I think actually when they were going against loads of Doctor Repulsors, and I think Emerald Warden's one of those heroes that you can't countered or you're picked for a countered hero, but because otherwise you want to sort of pick up another carry that's a little bit more useful in terms of the farm you're giving to him. But
yeah,
just my opinion though.
And once Ricochet comes out, she is gonna wreck
Tarot.
those crits. Wait, what am I saying? Terra, that's
Ricochet.
Ricochet. Well, Ricochet was her former name. It used to be a name.
In SPT,
Once
in SPT,
Terra
she was called
comes
Ricochet,
out, yeah.
Who came up with that name?
So
Leaks.
original. Leaks of what used to be and not anymore. So, but yeah, no, Terra's gonna crit all over.
We don't want to talk about leaks here.
No.
Chat's gonna go insane.
No.
Just stop.
You?
What?
We could talk about my Z through A challenge. How that's going. Playing every single hero. Z through A, I have to win with the hero. And,
So what, you're going to be done in the next couple of 10 years?
It's
then?
taken a while. It's taking a while. It's only when I stream, obviously. And
how many games are you in?
Well,
Zero.
the only hero I lost, actually, so I set a rule where I have to win with three, or I have to win with the hero, or I just play a maximum of 3 games and I just move on. The only hero so far that I've actually...
Cop-out.
Okay.
That is a cop-out.
Kind of.
It's a cop
Kind
out.
Gladiator is the only one, though, that I went 0-3 on, and I just had to move on, because it's just like, I cannot land pitfalls. His ultimate...
You were not in a tank.
His ultimate is stupidly hard to land, in my opinion. It's so frustrating how it's a set max distance. You can't
You're
make it
pretty
shorter.
noob, though, so.
I am pretty noob, though. Thank you,
I'm
Mini
joking,
Maggot.
I'm joking.
Dominate. Yeah,
Don't
so.
say JK if you don't mean it.
Exactly. You meant that. Whatever. No big deal. My feelings are hurt now.
You're
The
podcast.
leaking, yeah. All right, but other than that, I mean, I guess that pretty much, though, that does it. Usually, what we should have done? We should have done like a game to finish it off, but I didn't think about what to do. We should bring that back for the next one, though. Game segment.
Yeah.
But we don't have
That'd
one
be
for
a
this
game.
time, so.
Everybody name the best team in football. Rams, I win.
That's a
I win.
stupid thing to say.
Yes. Suck.
That's a really dumb thing to say. Yeah, you guys are not going to do that well this season. Oh well.
Yeah,
No.
the best record of this panel last year is just going
You
to
know what, though?
At least
You know what, though?
we have
Like,
fantasy football to make us all
Even
happier.
if we get...
At least
like,
we have fantasy.
Oh, God.
You're welcome for
Even
it.
even if we get, like, 6 wins, those 6 wins would be better than any 10 wins in the AFC. Because the NFC is the better division. So
That's actually true. NFC West is just...
NFC best.
NFC West, like 3 years ago, was the worst division. And they
Yeah,
became-
we had a 7-9
bad.
playoff
It's not
team.
3 years ago. God.
We had a
Breaking.
7-9 playoff team. And
Yeah,
then caused
that was pretty
earthquakes.
bad.
Earthquakes.
Those Seahawks. That's not true. We'll see. We'll see how it plays out this season. Who knows? My fantasy
See,
team's pretty good.
even
though.
Quincy is an NFC best fan because he's a Niners guy, even though the Niners blow.
That is literally the most disgusting thing I've discovered about that guy yet.
What, Niners fans.
Yes.
I can't
You
stand.
guys should see our writers' chats. It's aggressive.
and poor Blaze is not knowing shit about
Don't know
football.
what. Don't know what's going on here. Are you going to actually see a football game, Mini Maggot, when it comes to the UK? Because they got a couple games scheduled over there.
There's a few games that have come down.
I think it was
the Jaguars.
Yeah, I think the Raiders came down. I think as well, like last couple of weeks actually.
Great team.
Yeah, I know they're not the greatest teams, so I should go and still watch one. They're actually the stadium's not too far from where I live. Actually, it's about 20 minutes. So
okay.
It's pretty decent.
Yeah, no, that would be fun, I'm sure.
Quincy's getting married.
Quincy's getting married?
Yeah, he's going to get a ring.
He's freaking home a ring.
Yeah, there's no way his team is going to get a ring, so he has to get married.
Oh, is that what he said?
Maybe
the 49ers?
Call Kaepernick a ring.
Kaepernick, overrated.
I could talk shit about other people's football teams all day long. But we should wrap this podcast.
I think we should. All right. With that said, I think we are going to start wrapping things up here. So, again, had some fun here, as usual. And so as far as what the plan is for these, we definitely plan to do these basically in between the cycles. Not sure an exact date just yet. We ideally wanted to do it yesterday, but, there was a holiday and everything, so but we'll see. We're probably lining up for the Mondays in between the cycles, but we'll let you know if there's any updates on that. But at least a podcast in between the cycles, so pretty much every 3 weeks here, going to be coming back at you and kind of giving you some updates as far as what's been going on with Han Tour and amongst other things as far as the competitive heroes North scene is concerned. So with that said, though, we are going to start wrapping things up here, so we'll go across the panel. We'll start with you, Beef, as always. Any final thoughts, any shout-outs you want to make here?
Final thoughts. I'm looking forward to watching some Han this weekend. I was for damn sure. I've been at events last 2 weeks, so really looking forward to watching some Han, maybe even casting some a little bit. But yeah, that's pretty much where I'm at right there. Big shout out as always to everybody for watching, for you guys for having me here on the podcast, to my organization Complexity and our new Dota team. Shout out to the former Stay Green guys, and thanks to our sponsors: Sound Blaster, Cyberpower PC, Newegg, Corsair, Creative, Twitch, DX Racer, Ponetware, and Scuff Gaming.
Jeez.
I think I got them all. There we go.
I'm never going to learn that list.
I know, that was actually all in my head. Follow me on Twitter and Facebook, twitter.com/Cole_beef, facebook.com/esports/beef. And if you guys want to win some awesome gear, go to cole.vg/coledota. I'll put that in the chat. Yeah, giving away stuff.
Congrats on your team pickup.
Yeah, stay what?
Stay what?
Stay red.
Stay red, apparently, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, apparently.
We'll
see, man. Moon Meander and Swindle Melons.
That's something, man. That is something. I
we
did not think we would have seen that day.
We are making it work.
That's going to be fun to watch. That's going to be fun to watch. To see what happens. All right, Mini Maggot, what about you? Any shout-outs you want to make?
Yeah, cool. Nothing big. I'm just really looking forward to casting next week. So obviously, I missed the grand finals in Cycle 1 because I was on holiday, but now I'm back. Looking forward to doing some casts, and it's going to be good, man. I can't wait for the next cycle to come around.
It's going to be a fun time. Fantasy, what about you?
Yeah, thanks for having me on the podcast again. I really appreciate it. And I have to do some shout-outs to the guys that are feeding me all the infos about the International Han, which is Ty, Tima, Babel, and HMZ. And HMZ gets a special shout-out for trying to hook me up with Ty Girl. Very much unsuccessful so far, but he keeps trying.
Keep trying.
You got to play the odds.
Of course.
How many Ty go? Anyways, yeah, that's about it. And Rose, obviously.
All right. As far as myself, what's that, Beef?
I have to give a shout out to the writers as well. I love the writers. Fantasy, Blaze, Quincy, and those. You guys rock.
Good guys.
Go to hunter.com.
Go there. Articles, tournaments, everything. Spread the views and everything. All right, so we are going to be wrapping up, though, ladies and gentlemen. As far as myself, shout out to you for tuning in as always. And we will be seeing you this coming weekend for Han Tour Season 3 Cycle 2. And what surely should be a great finish here, or not a great finish, but a continuation even of Cycle 2 and where that leads us. So until the next time of the podcast, and of course this weekend here, we'll see you guys